Let's see if that did it. Can you see and or hear me right now? Let me know. Hopefully everything's working as it should. Hopefully we get good reception in here. Let's see. Audio and video. Thank you, Lenina. Excellent. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Paleontologizing. Welcome to the Lindsay Wildlife Experience here in Walnut Creek, California. This is a wildlife rehabilitation center, wildlife hospital, and public education institution. I've been coming here since I was a little kid. The school that I went to growing up is actually just down the street. So, yeah. Back then it was the Lindsay Wildlife Museum, and it's been since renamed the Lindsay Wildlife Experience, and I'm so glad that you can experience this with me this morning. We've got a number of wild animals here, some of whom are being rehabilitated and some of whom cannot be released into the wild, so they're kind of wildlife ambassadors. There's a strong focus on local species here, from the San Francisco Bay Area, because many of these are from this area. Lindsay Wildlife Experience, Lindsay Wildlife Museum Hospital is one of the oldest wildlife rehab centers in the world. And they've served as a kind of a model for many other institutions like this around the globe. So again, I'm very excited to share this with you today. And we've got some kind of bird of prey up here. Who is this? Up there? I'm not sure. I'm not as well versed in my birds of prey as I should be. We've got all kinds of wonderful critters just, greeting the day. I got here as early as I could this morning, so we'd have the fewest number of shrieking children. But, hello. How are you doing? Okay. You're beautiful. So not a red tail, maybe a cuckoo sock, I'm not sure. I might have to ask. We got a desert tortoise down here, Gopherus. So named because they're very good at digging. Much like a gopher. Look at you. Excellent. Yeah. Wonderful. Hello. You just want to be let out. I'm sorry, I can't do that, friend. I don't think that'd be safe for you. Oh, I'm trying to dig straight through the glass there. Oh. But look at those powerful claws for digging like that. When you think of burrowing animals, you probably don't think of tortoises, but they are prolific burrowers. You can see how those, it's almost spade-like claws, those manual unguals there, be very, very good for digging. This guy's trying to be an escape artist here. So desert tortoise, the sign says, desert tortoises are native to Southern California. To escape the heat of the summer and the cold of winter, they dig burrows with their strong, flat front claws. That's what you're seeing right there. In winter, they hibernate in their burrows. Desert tortoises eat grasses, wildflowers, cactuses, and herbs. They can survive for a year or more without drinking to live 80 to 100 years. Wow. Hi there. I was really trying to get out there. Oh. Is it time for her to,
She goes outside.
Go elsewhere. Excellent. Oh, what's her name, if you don't mind my asking?
Dandelion.
Dandelion.
Yeah.
Gorgeous name. Wow.
Are you a blog person?
Yeah, I'm streaming on Twitch right now. So yeah, just wanted to introduce people to this wonderful facility. I've been coming here since I was a little kid. I went to school just down the street, and Lindsay Wildlife Museum, as it was known back then, was like, it was a big part of my childhood. So it's a thrill to be able to share this with everyone. Yeah.
Okay, so,
Here, we'll give them some space while they're dealing with Dandelion here, and we'll see who else is around. Hello to you. How are you doing? Looks like we might have some eye troubles there. That might be what she's in for. Yeah. Very cool. And there goes Dandelion. I think she's getting ready to go outside to her enclosure there. I think that's why she was clawing at the glass. Very cool. We've got a woodpecker down here, an acorn woodpecker. Melanarpes formicivorus. That means ant-eating formicivorus, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So many of the critters that you can see here cannot be released to the wild for various reasons. But it's wonderful that they can serve as ambassadors to the public. So people can gain a better appreciation for the creatures that live all around us here in the Bay Area. All kinds of wonderful beasties here. We've got an owl over there, and what looks like maybe a golden eagle, red-tailed hawk. Oh, very cool. I feel like we might get a chance to talk to some of the folks who work here. But it's a happening place, as you can see. Yeah. Hey, R.A. Morley, how are you doing? Hello, hello. Burbs indeed. Yeah. Very cool. Back over here. I want to go toward the entrance because it's going to get busy and noisy here in a little while. But I used to like to come here to get gifts for people. They've got a wonderful gift shop. And so sometimes I would stock up on Christmas and birthday presents here and just keep them throughout the year. That way, when you make purchases here, you're helping support this institution and helping fund the care of all these critters. So, excellent gift shop here. Got some really good books as well. Here, lovely taxidermy display. A bunch of our critters here from California. From a California condor, juvenile with a black head right there. Various plants, minerals, greater roadrunner, collared lizard. I saw so many collared lizards this summer in Utah. It was magical. California mountain king snake. One of those ones that's converged on, well, they mimic venomous species. I was talking about this with Ios when we were in the reptile house at the San Diego Zoo a few days ago. She's like, isn't there some sort of a rhyme or something? And I go, yeah, I remember this from my childhood. With the color bands on king snakes versus, I think it's coral snakes are the venomous ones, and king snakes mimic them. The rhyme goes, red touches yellow, kill a fellow. Those are the venomous ones. Red touches black, friend of Jack. These ones, the red is touching the black. So they've evolved this, like, mimicking pattern like that, and it's just good enough, Doesn't have to be perfect. But yeah, it's effective enough, which is super cool. The evolution of mimicry is really fascinating to me. Yeah. Oh, we've got an ammonite fossil. Very cool. I wonder where this is from. Looks like a Cretaceous ammonite, I would guess, based on the suture patterns. Pretty neat. California banana slide.
Good morning, wildlifers. It's almost time for our 10:15 behind-the-scenes hospital program. Stop by our Wildlife Hospital behind-the-scenes theater, located next to the museum store, for a peek into the care of one of our current wildlife patients.
We'll go see if we can check that out.
Our behind-the-scenes hospital program is starting at 10:15.
10:15.
Behind the scenes theater.
Very shortly.
Located next to the
Let's go on back over there, actually.
See you there soon.
Get ourselves a good spot. Yeah. We'll stop and see the birds of prey first. These raptors. Gorgeous. Very wide-eyed owl there. Very cool. And don't king snakes kill rattlesnakes? They do. They eat them. Yeah. I love the donation boxes that they have here too. Let's put dollar bills into the mouth. They've got a bird over there as well. Here's a rattlesnake. This is the only time I would advise putting your hands in the mouth of a rattlesnake. It's right here. Here is the Wildlife Hospital. So not only is this a public education venue, they're a wildlife hospital as well. If there's injured wildlife here in the Bay Area, you can bring it to the Lindsay Wildlife Museum. Let's go take a look. Hi there, how's it going?
Good, how are you doing this morning?
Doing well. Very cool. Beautiful facility.
Yeah. No, you're not going to go here. Don't worry.
You're not an animal. It's just an animal, I promise.
You're also nice and healthy. So.
Very cool. Do you mind if I record this in here? Thank you. I just want to ask permission.
Of course.
How many more rooms do you have like this throughout the facility?
We have a couple more like vet office rooms in our hospital side, but this is the only one that we have that is like meant for
public viewing. Yeah. Very
all right. And it looks like we're going to start our vet tech's getting set up, so I want to welcome you guys to our behind the scenes program this morning. My name is Tyler. I'm one of the wildlife program specialists here at the museum, and this morning we start off our day by showing you guys the other side of what we do here at Lindsay Wildlife. I'm sure you guys are already familiar with our animal ambassadors and our natural history, but the other half of what we do is as a fully functioning wildlife rehab hospital. We are actually the oldest wildlife rehab hospital in the country. We were founded in 1970. And today we are able to take care of lots of native animals that come into the hospital from people like you guys in the community. We rely on people from the community to bring in animals that they find that are sick or injured. And so it's a way that we can all be good heroes for the animals. So I always like to point out at the start, we have our very professional animal transport, the brown paper bag. It may seem a little silly, but it actually makes them feel a lot calmer because it's a contained space, it's a little bit darker, it's temperature controlled, they can breathe well in there, and it makes them just generally feel a lot calmer because this whole experience of being in the wildlife hospital is kind of stressful for them. It's the same as us. If you or I were to go to the hospital, it can be pretty stressful. But we try to get these guys with as little stress as possible, especially because as animals, they don't necessarily see this as vet care. They see something bigger than me, it's holding me, and that's scary because usually the only time something bigger than these animals is going to hold them is right before they are going to become food. So they try to minimize stress as much as possible for these guys, and as we get ready to get started, we've got one of the more common animals we get here. Mourning dove this morning. This guy actually just came in last night / this morning. So this is going to be a full intake exam. We're trying to figure out what's going on for this guy. So our vet tech, Aaron, is going to be doing his best to try to figure out what's going on. And being a vet tech here, it's not just being a veterinarian and being able to help the animals, it's also being a detective and being able to figure out what's going on with these animals. So because these guys don't have a really good means to communicate with us, because they experience pain a little bit differently than we do. If you or I, we fall, we hurt our leg, I'm going to stop, I'm going to call for my mom, I might go to the doctor, I have time to process it. So for these guys, if they get hurt, they need to keep going, because as wild animals, they're still at risk of being eaten by something else, especially these prey species like the mourning dove. So instead of feeling around for their signs of pain, what our vet techs are going to be doing is feeling around for different types of swelling, feeling how what their fat deposits feel like. Have they been injured for a while? If they've been injured for a while, then those fat deposits that they keep are going to be a little bit depreciated. We can feel around their feathers for any signs of parasitic mites or anything like that. We can feel around their mouths to see if they've been properly hydrated or dehydrated. And this is a pretty common exam to be getting. We don't know a whole bunch about why this guy came in, but especially with birds, there's usually 3 reasons that we end up with birds. One of the first ones is another animal, one that a lot of us keep in our houses. Well, you got a lot of cat and dog capture animals, and that one is difficult just because it is pretty much preventable. So we do encourage people to keep, if their animals are outside, keeping a good eye on them. And it's also difficult because our cats and dogs, especially the cats, have a lot of bacteria in their mouths, and they can sometimes make really small punctures into the animals that we're trying to treat, and they can get infected. It just makes them harder to treat. So that's one of the common reasons we end up with these guys. Another one of the most common reasons, especially as we get into migratory bird season, it has to do with windows. So birds have a kind of a difficult time seeing the difference between a window and clear space. So we get a lot of birds that have window strikes. And what that looks like in terms of injury is very similar to what it would look like if you or I were run into a window. Head trauma. Perfect, thank you. I know, it's very exciting stuff. Head trauma, broken bones. Luckily with the birds, if they do end up breaking a bone, they heal a lot faster than our bones do because of their bone structure. It's hollow with like strutting throughout, so it does heal quite a bit faster. Right now what Aaron is doing is he's actually using a little bit of alcohol to help separate out those feathers, because birds have hydrophobic feathers. It means that the water flies right off them. It's like always wearing a raincoat. So in order to be able to try to separate out those feathers, we're going to be using a little bit of alcohol for that. Sounds like he's listening for some breathing. With these guys in particular, we look for if they have any kind of blood or trauma in their crop, because mourning doves are a bird that stores a lot of food in their crop. They actually are able to store an extraordinary amount of food in their crop. The most seeds that a mourning dove was found to have in their crop, which is this little pouch basically in between their mouth and their gizzard that goes down their stomach, was over 17,000 grass seeds.
Wow.
And one little bird like this. So we're always checking the crop to see if there's any trauma in there, feeling around for anything else. Yeah, but one of the things we can help do to prevent the window strikes is something as you're walking around our exhibit hall where we have our birds and their enclosures, you may see very clear looking stickers on them. Those are actually stickers that we see as clear, but light up with the UV from the sun. Birds all are able to see UV light, so by having these UV stickers on the windows, it helps give them a little indicator that there's something there and not to run into it and bang their heads into it. Now we're getting out of baby bird season right now, but one of the other more common reasons that we end up with these guys, especially with baby birds, is that baby birds go through a period of growth called their fledgling period, where they are meant to be on the ground, but they're not able to fly fully. And so concerned people with the biggest hearts see this baby bird on the ground, not flying, assume that it's hurt, and bring it to us. We take a look at it, we see, no, he was doing good. He was learning how to be a bird. His parents were probably nearby, and we try to get them right back out. So those are probably the three most common reasons we end up with birds like this guy. He's a little bigger to be we joke, accidental kidnapping bird. So, with your detective work, Aaron, do you have any guesses about?
My first thought is he hit a window. So he is actually a young little mourning dove, so he's not quite fully an adult. He has what I like to call a serious case of baby face. So basically he's just, he's not fully grown yet. These guys are prone to run into a lot of things because they just don't know the area just yet. And it's a very common thing that when mourning doves learn to fledge, when they start learning to fly, they just run into things. So fortunately, this guy, he's showing some trauma along his chest, which is pretty common for window strike guys if they hit a window or something. But beyond that, I really can't find anything else going on with this guy. The history we got from him is that he's apparently not flying, which again could be due to the fact that he hit a window. So he's just not feeling too good right now, and he just needs a little bit of time to kind of recuperate, get himself out there, and just kind of get some pain meds and maybe some antibiotics. I was trying to look for a stethoscope in there because it sounded like he might have a little bit of trauma. He might have a little bit of blood in his what's called the crop. And that's basically an extension of their stomach. And sometimes when they hit a window and they get a buildup of blood in their crop, it can sometimes leak into their lungs a little bit. And so they start breathing a little bit heavier. Fortunately, it's something that we can treat, even though it's a little gross sometimes.
Yeah, so at this point in our program, if you guys have any questions for our vet tech, Aaron, now would be the time to do so. You can ask about what it's like being a vet tech. You can ask about this bird, other birds we've had, anything like that.
Yeah, what's up?
How do these animals come in? Just especially from window.
Yeah, so most of the time it's brought to us by members of the public. We do have a transport service that's very specific for raptors called Bay Raptor Rescue, and then for the most part we have to rely on animal control to kind of go out and transport animals for us. Unfortunately, across Contra Costa County, the entire animal control has lost a lot of their funding, so they no longer respond to wildlife calls. So we unfortunately have to rely a lot on members of the public to actually go out and rescue these guys. We unfortunately don't have the ability to do the transport on our own, because it would require us to leave the hospital and leave the patients that we have in our care right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I used to actually drive for an organization that had organized volunteers
Gotcha.
from the city. So there are some of that's interested. If you just search like in whatever area you are, like volunteer animal rescue, they have like a network where they just say we found somebody and you drive.
That's actually really awesome, really helpful, because yeah, it's definitely finding transport and ensuring that members of the public are staying safe. Because not everyone is trained to handle a wild animal. That's definitely good to hear. Nice to know. Yeah, what's up?
So, any tips for the kids if they ever aren't with an adult and they see an animal, what they should do?
Yeah, I always say contact our hotline is always the first thing I would recommend. It's basically a group of volunteers that we have that can basically that are able to accurately determine if an animal needs to come in or not. At the same time, I always recommend to people that wild animals are pretty unpredictable and they don't like to show weakness. So sometimes you really do have to spend quite a bit of time. I've spent at least 1 to 2 hours just monitoring an animal that I thought was injured. It was a little Canada goose who just could not stand up. She basically would take a few feet and then she would collapse. And I thought there was something seriously wrong, but she was still eating, so I monitored her for a few hours. And then, without even standing up, she saw another flock of geese come in, and she just lifted herself off and got into a fight with 3 of them. So I was like, you're fine. I just wasted 2 of my hours just sitting there watching you. So definitely make sure you have some time to spare. And if you really just don't feel like you're able to assess the situation, or you just don't feel like you have the time to, contact our hotline.
And should they approach the animal?
Really depends on the animal. A little songbird you can try to approach. Because the fact of the matter is that if the animal actually gets away from you or flies off, don't try to chase it. The wild animals in particular, the more you interact with them, the more you try to capture them, the more you chase them, the more stressed they're going to get, and the more detrimental that is going to be towards their health. So basically, if you're unable to successfully capture the animal, leave it alone. Yeah.
I was wondering if you had any recommendations, things that people could do to make their backyard or their neighborhood safer for animals like that mourning dove.
Yeah, absolutely. So for window stripes, there's actually these stickers that you can place on the outside of your windows. What this does is these specialized stickers are semi-transparent, but they reflect UV light. So basically what that means is birds can actually process and see UV light. So the cool thing about those stickers is that the birds will see them, they see the reflection of the UV light, and they immediately turn the opposite direction. So that's always a really good start to kind of help deter window strikes, is to put those stickers up. You don't even necessarily need to use stickers. Some people use curtains. I have a friend who told me that they used to use construction paper. So just kind of like colored paper blocking the windows. There are a lot of different things you can do with the window strikes, guys. As for like other things, I always recommend native plants. Native for gardening stuff. Native plants is always a really good one, because what that's going to do is it's going to attract some of the insects, which in turn is going to start attracting some of the songbirds that in the area that are attracted to those same insects. And it kind of turns into a really cool self-sustaining garden from what I've heard. So that's always a really great way of kind of not just helping out your garden, but also helping out the native animal species. When you start planting native plant species in your area and kind of create a little self-sustaining garden, it really draws in a lot of the native animal species, and they're more likely to come in and hang out and spend a little time in there. And it provides them a nice little environment to hang out.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Possum possum in the background.
Yeah. Like a kind of cool possum. This is what's called a, she can't really see it right now because I don't think she realizes she's being watched. But as you can see, he is completely white. So this is actually not an albino opossum. This is called a leucistic opossum. So there's actually a difference between the two. Albinism is full-on; they lack any sort of pigment whatsoever. And you can tell the difference between the two is because albinism, they have pink eyes. They usually have red pink eyes, whereas leucism, it's just white fur.
If you want an example of albinism, you can go see our albino rattlesnake, Tyro, in our creek pond.
Oh, cool.
He has those pink eyes.
Yeah.
So what's for the morning though?
Yeah.
How long would you expect him to stay with you? Like, do you expect him to be released, or are you guys going to keep him here?
No, so the ultimate goal is to always release the animal. That's kind of what the Fish and Wildlife permit that we operate under, that's kind of what they want us to be doing. See you guys. Basically, if he does have a fracture, cool thing about birds is that they heal fractures ridiculously fast. If he has a fracture along his keel, it's only going to take him about a month to actually heal that thing completely. So if he's here for about 4 weeks, he'd probably only be here for about a month, maybe even 2 months at a maximum, and then he's going to get released back out into the wild and join another flock and become a reproductive member of society.
Cool. Yeah, if anything else comes up, you can find somebody out on the exhibit hall. We're happy to answer any questions you guys have. But we really appreciate you guys joining us today. I wasn't able to get to it, but we're able to help over 5,000 animals each year in our hospital. And this year, we're looking like we're going to exceed that. We've had a really big year this year. So ticket and membership prices go a long way towards helping with that. And we really, really appreciate you guys being here. We hope you enjoy the rest of your visit.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I was just wondering, too, if anybody at home wants to be able to donate, support your cause, is there a donate link on the website or anything like that?
If you go Lindsay Wildlife Experience, Google that, and then it will have all the links to donate, volunteer, anything like that.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
You too.
Very cool. All right. And I love they've got this roster of previous patients that they've had in years past. The American Crow from Berkeley. I'd love to the hospital. It was headed in the crow's shoulder. We operated poisoning. We released it near where it was found. It's not cheap to be able to do. You think medical care is expensive here in the U.S. I mean, think about if you're a wild animal. But yeah, I don't know. It warms my heart that there are dedicated, specially trained, passionate people. We're here to help these animals, I think that's the sign of a healthy society. When folks have compassion for everybody, including wild animals. Here's a particular one that I wanted to show you too. Gopher snake here. I don't know, a little bit of editorializing here, but do not use glue traps like this. They are incredibly cruel, and they often capture animals that you're not trying to hurt. There's untold numbers of different critters that die a painful, stressful death because of glue traps like this. Luckily, this gopher snake from Martinez was brought here. A man found the snake stuck to a rodent trap. Fortunately, he didn't try to remove it, which could have pulled off the snake's scales. He brought the trap with the snake attached to the hospital. We used a special solution to dissolve the glue and then gave the snake a bath. Our exam found bruising on the snake's belly, which we treated with pain medication and antibiotics. The snake recovered in a few days and we returned it to where it was found. Please don't use sticky traps. Snakes can provide natural rodent control. There you go. Noble. One afternoon, I was probably 13 years old, and I heard this splashing down in the canal, and I looked down there, and there's 2 river otters. This is less than a mile from my house. Just amazing to be able to see them in there. I had no idea that we had otters here in the Bay Area, and there they were. Chances are, wherever you live, there are critters nearby that you're not aware of, that you might think of as exotic or rare, but they will be there. Super cool. Anyway, let's continue on and see some other critters over here. Got our birds of prey over here. We didn't even say hello to these guys yet. Oh, there's our woodpecker again. Hello, acorn woodpecker. Oh. A little goofy. But I guess that's why she's in here. Beautiful. Alright. And we've got some pocket gophers in here. Super active. I'm guessing these guys have got a pretty crazy metabolism. They need a lot of food, and they are very active. So I've seen a bunch of pocket gophers in San Francisco's Presidio before. And there's a population of owls that hangs out there that like to snack on these guys. It's a whole ecosystem. Spinning around right there.
Kind of prettier than I.
Okay, come on, mommy, let's go.
Very cool. So I'm guessing something's happened to these two critters. Our pocket gopher and our acorn woodpecker. So they will not be able to be released to the wild, but get to live a long, happy life here, be ambassadors for their species to the general public, which is super cool. Wow. And I love the yellow, like along the chin of this woodpecker. I've never been this close to a live woodpecker before, especially an acorn woodpecker, and seen that kind of yellowish hue. That's really cool. It's just beautiful. What a privilege to see such a gorgeous animal up close like this. Oh, my dad was saying the gopher looks like he's cut into the Halloween candy already. He's pretty hyperactive. Yeah. Better than being lethargic, you know? Aww. Can watch him all day. He's quite the character. Very cool. And then we've got a band-tailed pigeon back here. Who is this? Hello, hello. So unlike familiar city pigeons, according to the sign called rock pigeons, band-tailed pigeons are California natives and prefer habitats with tall trees in which to hide. They eat seeds and fruit on the ground and are frequent visitors to backyard bird feeders. To tell band-tailed pigeons apart from other pigeons, look for dark eyes, yellow bills, and yellow legs. Okay. We've got some herps in here, some gopher snakes. There's one right there. Having a nice relaxing Saturday morning. Yeah. And then we've got a Pacific gopher snake in the back corner there. Beautiful. Very nice. Such nice enclosures for them, too. We've got a millipede right here, a desert millipede. So millipedes famously are not insects, nor are they arachnids. They're myriapods, and they're among the first of the land-living invertebrates to evolve. The first of the invertebrates to move onto land, basically. I've always really liked millipedes. There's something really cool about them. We've got a desert hairy scorpion in here, which I think is hiding. And then a rock dove in here. Where's our rock dove? AKA city pigeon. Might be out and about right now. Yeah. Very cool. And our porcupine is outside right now. Here, we might want to go downstairs and just see some of the stuff before it gets super crowded and loud down there too. But look at this. We have a bald eagle, just like we saw yesterday, but so much closer up. You are gorgeous. Yeah. Hello, hello. How are you doing? Crimson Carnotaurus. Do not call this animal a flying rat. This is our national symbol. The Secret Service is going to be knocking at your door. Yeah. Very cool. I love the concerned look that various eagles often have. That brow ridge just makes them look, they always have an expression of concern. Beautiful. Very, very cool. I kind of get the feeling that a lot of the birds that we're encountering, and the other animals too, are really interested in the fuzzy microphone cover that I have. I said this before at the San Francisco Zoo, but it almost does look like a mouse or a vole or something. Something somebody might want to eat. Yeah. Super cool. And Becky Saif, how are you doing? Hello, hello. Yeah, I am on early. We're here at the Lindsay Wildlife Experience in Walnut Creek, California. Saying hello to this bald eagle here. This is as close as we can get, but hopefully you're seeing him okay in the camera. Yeah. Very cool. That's...
Is that in a bald eagle?
Okay, she said yes.
So once again, the kind of eagle call that you'll hear in, movies and TV commercials and stuff like that, it's usually a red-tailed hawk. That is an actual eagle call, and I'm so glad everybody got to hear that.
Is it cool?
Pretty big, right?
It was so big the last time.
Is this a female? She seems pretty large.
Yeah. Her name is Atsa.
Atsa? Wow, she's beautiful.
She is quite a beautiful bird.
How long has she been here?
She's been here with us since 2016. She was rescued in 2003, actually up in Wisconsin. They found her nest had gotten blown out of a tree in a windstorm, and so had a broken wing. And when rehabbers had gotten to it, already started to fuse wrong. So she's not blighted, but that also gave us the opportunity when it was time for her to move. We built out this whole enclosure for her, specifically for a flightless bald eagle. So this is her. Everything's set up for her to be able to hop, enjoy.
Yeah.
Let people know with her loud voice.
I heard her from outside on the way in, actually.
Oh, yeah. Where are her eggs? Well, Outsa doesn't always lay eggs. I know she has in the past, but because she's lived with people for so long, she just doesn't always lay eggs.
Huh. Interesting. How many, is that really common among birds for them to lay eggs even when they're just solo in captivity? For female birds?
I'm not sure. It really depends. We have some birds here who do just lay eggs, fertile eggs. It's just part of their yearly thing. And then we have other animals who just do not lay eggs. Period. I think it varies more on the individual, what their stress level is, what their disposition is. They all have. Well, I'll tell you what. The porcupine. We're gonna have a program about 20 minutes outside. You can see the porcupine up close. It's pretty fun. You think you got 20 minutes of patience?
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Wow, very cool. I think we'll continue along and see what else we can see. But yeah, thanks for talking to us, Skin.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah. Back. Yeah, here we go. Hopefully we're back on. Sorry, I was going to show you downstairs. There's just kind of a big open area with some big taxidermied animals. They have a big polar bear down there and stuff. But that's where they have, school field trips, special events. They've had traveling exhibits. I was talking about when I was a little kid, they had a traveling dinosaur exhibit here, which was really cool. And I got to meet, an actual dinosaur researcher at the time. I don't remember his name. He looked kind of like Matt Wadle, but I don't think it was Matt Wadle. Anyway, it's pretty neat. They had a big old Giganotosaurus skeleton, all that stuff. So, yeah. Anyway, unfortunately the signal's not great down there, but it's mostly an empty room. But this is pretty neat. Geology of Mount Diablo. At 2 million years old, Mount Diablo, which is off in that direction. Mount Diablo is a big, partly volcanic in origin mountain that it's kind of like an emblem for the East Bay, Contra Costa County, where I grew up. Mount Diablo is considered a young mountain, but some of its rocks formed around 190 million years ago. I love this. It doesn't take up a lot of space, this exhibit, but anything that talks about local geology, I'm a fan of. We've got serpentinite from the Jurassic Ophiolite sequence, 165 million years old, north-south Mount Diablo. Sandstones, mudstones, cherts, agrolite, and schist. The rocks, we've got various minerals. And then, economically important geology as well, mining stuff, coal and diabase, copper, cinnabar. And then we've got various fossils from Mount Diablo, too. Super cool. Mount Diablo was formed by ancient seafloor being thrust upwards. That's the story of a lot of our coast mountain ranges here in California. Transition in the landscape over time into the mountain it is today. From this ancient past, fossils of both marine and terrestrial life can be found. We've got lots of marine stuff here. Ammonite, presumably from the Mesozoic there. Belemnites, shark teeth, Actinopterygian fish. That almost looks like it's from the Green River Formation of Wyoming. I don't know if that's from Mount Diablo. Yeah. And then we've got Pleistocene mammals here. The Black Hawk Quarry in near Mount Diablo, near Danville, California, if you know where that is. They've got a wealth of Pleistocene mammals from there. A lot of these you can see at Berkeley, but here's just a smattering of things here. Horse and camel teeth right there. Giant ground sloth. I don't know if that'd be Megatherium, but some kind of sloth. More horse and camel teeth. And a mammoth tooth right there. It's upside down. You're seeing the root sticking up, and the actual, like, occlusal surface of the tooth is underneath. And we've got some plant fossils too, including a lovely fossil fern. That's so beautiful. I kind of wonder if it is local or if it's just meant to represent the sorts of fossils you might find around there. But very cool. And Scorch Hellfire says that's also where they got the name for the Diablo computer games from? Really? From Mount Diablo? Here in the San Francisco Bay Area? I didn't know that. Although I'm not really familiar with that game, to be fair. Right. And is that a shrike right there? I think there's a shrike holding a lizard. I couldn't even see that coming down the stairs, but there we go. Very cool. Neat stuff. Very neat. Our porcupine enclosure, we're hopefully going to see the porcupine in person in just a little bit. We're going to go outside for that little presentation. Yeah. Yeah, let's take a look at some of the critters over here. What's wild and what's not? I think this is going to talk about native versus invasive species, domestic versus wild. Is this a Chuckawalla lizard? Hello, hello. Just hanging out, relaxing. Very cool. If this is a Chuckawalla, and I think it is, these guys are famous for lodging themselves between rocks and then puffing up their body to just kind of stick themselves into there. So they're like almost impossible to pull out. It's behavior that they exhibit when they're trying to evade predators. Pretty neat. Yeah. See, sort of in the process of shedding skin right there too. Yeah, shrikes. Shrikes are so cool. Anyway, these guys are a little bit too big for shrikes to hassle, but larger birds like roadrunners and critters like coyotes will try and eat chuckawallas, and will often lodge themselves in the rocks, kind of inflate their bodies to just become inextricable. Very cool. We've got northern alligator lizards. Very cool. This is, I think it's a San Francisco alligator lizard. Those are the ones that I used to keep. There we go. You see him in there? So this must be the more northerly variant. San Francisco alligator lizards occur here in the Bay Area, and I had some of them as pets when I was a kid. I had 2 of them in particular. Only for a short while. They stopped eating, and we said, okay, it's time to let them go. Not taking good enough care of them. There we go. Hello, hello, little alligator lizard. So a lizard like this is, even though it's called an alligator lizard and not an alligator. They're beautiful. We've got a tarantula right here. I'm not super fond of big invertebrates, but we're going to take a look anyway in the interest of fairness. Check that out. Chilean rose tarantula. So we do have tarantulas like this here in California. There's a big migration of them every year on Mount Diablo. And the sign says, Chilean rose tarantulas are docile spiders native to desert scrub habitats in South America. Their dark bodies are covered with rose-colored hairs. Like California tarantulas, they live in underground burrows and spend most of their lives waiting for food, such as insects, to wander by. Very cool. Pretty cool. Yeah. I know some people in chat are not fond of spiders. You know, spiders are not my favorite, but I try and be excited about them. I'm kind to them when they wander into the house. I capture them and let them go down the street. Not on the street itself. I find suitable habitat for them and let them go. Yeah, you know? As a scientist, I'm compelled to be as fair-minded as I can be about different organisms, you know?
Maybe they changed the color.
And then we've got some rats in here. Hello, hello. Domestic rat, Rattus norvegicus. This is the Norway rat. First bred in Europe, pet rats are intelligent, clean, and curious. Although primarily nocturnal, they will be active during the day when given attention and food. We've got one right here. Hello, hello. Doing some scratching.
Okay, let's go this way.
Yeah, very cool. And Rhacodactylus, I agree with you completely. All life has a part to play in nature, absolutely. We're on the same page there. Look at that rat tail. Very cool. And then these rats in here, I think, are just sleeping. We'll let them rest. Yeah, and wild animals belong in the wild. Very, very important message for visitors here. Wild animals do not make good pets. They belong in their natural habitat. Their instincts to hunt, burrow, climb, and chew help them thrive in the wild, but not in your home. And pets do not belong in the wild. They've been bred to live with humans and rely on people for care. They do not have the skills to protect themselves in the wild. This is really important, that distinction between domestic animals and wild animals. You know? Here's some domestic animals here. We've got some rabbits, and they've got a little plush stegosaurus with them. I love that. Hello, hello. Wow, they're so elegant looking.
Oh, Nolan, did you see the bunnies? Look at it. Look over here. Look. Oh.
No, you're good.
What's that? Bunnies.
Very cool.
Oh, and these are guinea pigs, Nolan. Look at those.
And we've got... Is there a hamster in here? Or is it? Oh, the rats can go through here, up through this tube, and into there. That's really neat.
See if you can see the rats.
Yeah.
Right here, Nolan. Come here. Let's see if we can
Look at these big old guinea pigs. Hello, hello.
Oh, this is a lizard. Look.
Yeah.
You can look down on the bed.
And Shumway says, so is Velia a wild or domestic velociraptor? She's definitely wild, but cannot be released back to the late Cretaceous period. For various reasons. Most of them temporal. Yeah. Oh, hello. Oh, guinea pigs are so cool. And look, one of them even recently shed an antler right there. Now, the antler's there for them to chew on. As rodents, they've got these constantly growing incisors, so their incisor teeth are just always getting longer and longer and longer, and they need things to chew on in order to wear them down. In the wild, that constant growth is a huge advantage to them. It means their teeth never get worn down completely. But in captivity, where they often eat softer foods, they need things to chew on in order to wear down their teeth and stay healthy. Hence the antler in there. Watch animals crawling around under blankets. There's something very funny to that. Funny to me about that. Very cool. And while it's nice and quiet in here, let's take a look at this. Protect the wildlife and pets in your own backyard. I love this mural with practical advice about how to care for critters in your neighborhood. Barn owls provide natural rodent control. Skip the poisons and attract these hunters to your yard with a barn owl nest box. I have to see about getting one of those. That is super cool. And if you find a baby animal in your yard, like this little rabbit right here, call Lindsay Wildlife Hospital for advice. And keep pets away, like this dog. Clean your bird feeders regularly to protect birds against avian disease and parasites. I see a house finch right there. And that looks like a chestnut-backed chickadee on the branch too. Lovely attention to detail. And here's a huge one. Keep your cats indoors to keep them safe and to prevent them from hunting birds, squirrels, and lizards. I could tell you some stories about people who did not keep their cats indoors here in the Bay Area, and also when I lived in Montana. Yeah, if you really love your cats, keep them indoors. They'll live about twice as long, and all the other critters will live longer too. I always said too, like if cats were only twice as big, they'd frequently be coming home with neighborhood children in their jaws, you know? Keep your cats indoors. They're ferocious animals. Yeah, and plant native plants to support pollinators such as bees and hummingbirds. And raccoons, opossums, and other wild animals are attracted to pet food. For the safety of wildlife and pets, keep kibble inside. I've heard stories of, dogs and cats who are like severely undernourished because their owners put the food bowls outside. And during the night, there's just a whole host of different wild animals that come through and just eat all of the kibble. So there's nothing left for the dog or cat. You get opossums and raccoons and mice and squirrels and rats and, sometimes more exotic critters like ringtails. And they'll just clean out that pet food bowl. And Spitz and Miley, good to have you here. You seem like you know what's going on here. How many times have you been to Lindsay before? There, I want to show this as well. This is super, super neat. I remember this from when I was a kid. So we've got bees buzzing around outside, going into that tube. Tube goes through here, and here's a hive. We've got all these, presumably domestic honeybees, doing their thing. We've got larvae, honey, eggs in here. Nice little spotting guide for visitors. Super cool. Let's see if we can spot some of those larvae. I think there's honey being stored in there. And presumably the larvae are in here being tended to by these the female workers here. Very cool. That is really neat. Spot the queen, says Jay Quartz. We'll see if we can. I don't know, I'm not an entomologist. I'll do my best. Where would the queen be? No pun intended. I'm not sure where the queen is. Presumably she's larger. Yeah, the queen, the only queen, is surrounded by a ring of workers. And so I'm trying to find the densest accumulation of workers here. Maybe somewhere in here? I don't know. Looks like she's only kind of subtly bigger. Oh, you found her? Thank you.
You put a dot, I think that's her.
Really?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe. Oh, maybe not. Sorry.
I did see...
They put a green dot.
There's a dot right there, but I don't know if that's... That could be the queen, but she doesn't seem very popular.
I know you're not.
No, you're great. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah.
3D printed holder.
What's that?
Love those 3D printed holders.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, they don't make one for this camera, so I had to get creative. Yeah.
Yeah, the green dot. Well, according to the Beekeeper Association.
The green dot is supposed to be the queen?
Yeah, that's what they say usually.
Oh, well, it doesn't look like she's moving. That could have been a previous queen, maybe.
Yeah, I'm
maybe
not sure.
Now deceased.
They
I don't
say
know.
this. Last time I was here, they said the queen left, and then they were trying to find another one or something. I don't know.
Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah. they usually put a green dot.
Cool. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. Huh. Interesting. From what we had Balint in the chat, who works on bees. I'm sure he would have some insight. Yeah. And very cool, and it's so neat to see the workers come in and out like this.
It's almost time for our Wild California program. Head outside to a Raptor Redwood Grove to experience the diversity of California's habitats and meet an animal that calls California home. Our Wild California program is starting at 11:15 out the main entrance and into Raptor Redwood Grove.
Let's go do that, shall we?
Join us for Wild California.
Yeah.
Please start making your way out the main entrance now.
Let's go take a look. This is really cool from what I remember. There's the pressed patty machine. I made sure to already get all 4 of those last visit. All right. Let's go outside. And let's go say hello to the oldest turkey vulture in all of California. It's over here. So his name is Lord Richard. He's California's oldest turkey vulture. He hatched in 1974 and came to the Lindsay Wildlife Experience shortly after. 1974. I bet you half the people in chat didn't even hatch that early. He's imprinted to humans and would not know how to properly socialize with other turkey vultures in the wild. He has a very important job, however, as an ambassador for his species. Here he is over here. Speak nice and softly next to him. Oldest turkey vulture in the whole state. He's preening himself right there. Very cool. Well, I'm going to go get a seat or a spot over here. I can stand and let other people sit down. But I want to make sure I get a good vantage spot for the camera. And there you go, Spitzenmeier. Very cool. All right. Let's go over here. That should be a good spot. I guess I can try and sit down. There we go. And yeah. Never hatched. There you go, Science Streams. Fair enough. Good to see. We might go in and see if we can see the bees again. And get your view on them. Turkey's a boomer. There you go, Becky Saif. Yeah. So I remember coming here for school field trips, and sometimes on the weekends with my mom. She could get discounted tickets through work, and yeah, this is a big part of my childhood. Lindsay Wildlife Museum, as it was then called, was looms large in my memories of childhood, for sure. Court says any IRL stream tomorrow? Probably not tomorrow, but my mobile data runs out, I think, Tuesday evening. So I'm going to try and do Monday and Tuesday as well. Still working on that. Trying to get some permissions and stuff, but yeah. Should have some pretty cool stuff to see, I think. Beguiling Fangs is going to be a bird show. Not so much a show, but a way to meet some of the animal ambassadors here.
What else would you like to eat?
Think of it more as of a demonstration than a show, I guess. But we're going to meet some birds of prey, presumably. Yeah. Oh, right there.
there's a root right there.
Oh, your shoe will actually be a better.
I think it is. It's a little calmer, a little happier.
Not bad.
Very cool. Stand over here and give somebody else a seat. You can sit down if you'd like.
Power squat going. Yeah, they missed you. They wanted to see you. You're good.
And I love to see people show up to something like this, you know. Everybody getting the chance to meet some of our local animals and gain a better appreciation for wildlife of the Bay Area makes me happy.
Alright, we're going to get started in just about 3 minutes now. Our animals are creatures of habit that start right on time. So we'll get started right at 11:15 for you guys. It's a pretty fun program for Wild California. You're going to see one of my favorite animals that we have here at Lindsay. Hey, some of you guys already know. It's pretty exciting. You know what it is?
Oh, it's a porcupine, isn't it?
Can you sit down right here?
He's pretty all over
I know.
Oh, we're from Yogurt Girl? Oh, you totally deserve that. Thank you again for all your help, Yogurt Girl. That VIP badge there. Well deserved.
Jackson.
Yeah.
You're not the wild animal. Well, he might be. I don't know. You would have to tell me, but not the wild animal that I know how to talk about.
Okay, you can hold it. You can't go over there. Nope. Can you stand with your brother?
All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Lindsay Wildlife. We're very happy to have you guys with us here today. Like I said, this is going to be our Wild California program. And as we get to 11:15, as people finish filing in, I just want to go over some things to make sure that we have the best time as well as our animal has the best time. So this is going to be about a 15-minute program. If at any point in those 10-15 minutes that you need to get up, shake your legs, use the restroom, do a little dance, please feel free to do so. We have restrooms located just inside the museum or right around the corner here outside. My name is Tyler. I'm one of the wildlife program specialists. I'll be guiding us on this program, and we're going to be getting to see one of our wild animals. So because of that, I do want to ask that we all use our arms and we make sure we're at least this far away from our fence, because we are going to be nice and close to our animals. We're going to get to see them really well, but we don't want to spook them. This also includes we don't want to toss anything into our enclosure over here, because we want for them to be as happy and confident as possible. So for us to do our Wild California program, we want to take you guys through some of the beautiful habitats that California has to offer and introduce you to one of the animals that lives there. But the habitat that we're in right now isn't the right habitat. My animal doesn't live in a chaparral oak wood forest like this. So I'm going to need you guys to use a little bit of imagination with me. We're going to put on a little bit of imagination cap and try to turn this grove into something a little bit different. Okay? So, we're thinking about it. We're looking at the trees. And right now we have these nice oak trees with their hard brown bark. The trees that I need them to be are much, much taller. They go up over 300 feet in the air. And the bark is a lot softer. It's a little more fibrous. It has the color red. The ground's going to be much moister, maybe have some moss, some lichen, some mushrooms on the ground, and the air is going to be just a little bit cooler on your skin. Does anybody know what kind of habitat I'm talking about? Yeah. A rainforest. It can rain in this forest, and it is a forest. I'll give you a hint. You guys see these logs? We're going to the redwood forest. So, our animal that we're going to be taking a look at today is our North American porcupine Penelope. Hello, Daddy. Now, you guys want to raise your hands? Did you guys know we have porcupines here in California? No, right? It's kind of crazy. And they're not exactly a small animal either. They're the second largest rodent we have here in North America. The largest is one that also shares a big paddle tail. Is there another big rodent with a paddle tail? They live in the water. They use their tail a little bit differently.
American beaver.
Exactly.
Castor canadensis.
Compared to beavers. And if we know one thing about porcupines, it's usually about their quills, that they're really spiny. So, if we're looking at Penelope right now, do you think if you think what we're seeing right now are her quills, why don't we raise our hands? Maybe raise your hand if you think her quills are somewhere else on her body. Yeah, exactly. So Penny's quills are actually going to be pressed flat against her body when she's calm. What we're seeing on the outside of her body right now are called guard hairs. So even though she has this really good method of defense, she has spiky armor over her body, she wants to be even more protected. So those guard hairs fluff her up, make her look nice and big. I don't know if you've ever been hiking. And what's the advice you get if you see a mountain lion? Is to make yourself as big as possible. That's what Penelope's trying to do, because she lives where the mountain lions live, and she wants to make herself as big as possible, too. Those white color on the hairs also are pretty important, because at night, when these guys are active, because they're nocturnal, that white is one of the colors that shows up the best. It makes them look the biggest, the most intimidating, the scariest. Now, I don't think she's the most scary looking. I think she's pretty cute. But she wants other animals to think that she's a little scary looking. But when it comes to her quills, they have a lot of quills on their body. I want to play a little game. I want you to raise your hand when you think I've said the right number of quills that a porcupine has in their body. So, we're going to start low and go high. Do you guys think that they have 300 quills?
That's too
Do you
many.
think they have 3,000 quills? Do you think they have 30,000 quills? How about 3 million quills? Oh, that would be a very spiky porcupine. I don't know if I could even get this close to her if she had that many quills. No, they have about 30,000 quills, and they're sometimes referred to as hollow, but they're actually a very spongy and light quill that is really stiff and sharp. If it gets stuck in you, it's really hard to pull out because it has little barbs on the end. For people, we're able to kind of get around that because we have these really cool things called thumbs that we're able to pull them out. But if you're an animal like a mountain lion, and you get a face full of porcupine quills, it can affect your ability to be able to eat in the wild. You might not be able to get those quills out of the inside of your mouth. So because of that, porcupines don't really have a lot of natural predators. Now, I know some people have also seen videos of porcupines shooting their quills off their body like a superpower. Do you guys think they can do that? You think so? Alright, well we can try it together. So, our porcupine quills are made of the same thing as our hair and nails. It's something called keratin.
Yeah.
So, if you or I could shoot our hairs off of our bodies, I'll bet you she could shoot her quills off her body. You guys want to try it together real quick? Okay. You just need to tell me if this works, because I have to focus really hard if I'm going to do this, okay? Tell me if it works. Did any quills come off? No, none of my hairs come off, and neither of her do her quills. But they do use that tail to help them slap at predators, and that's what sometimes looks like she's shooting her quills. They use their tail where they have a whole bunch of quills in it, and they slap it really fast, and it kind of looks like they're being thrown off of their body, and it's pretty cool. So as Penny is working her way up to the tree, it's a good chance for us to talk about what porcupines like to eat. They like to eat stuff that you and I may or may not like to eat. They like to eat the leaves off of trees. They like to eat the buds that the leaves grow from.
Let's see if we can get a little closer.
They like to eat tree bark. Do you guys like eating tree bark? Oh, yeah.
Try and get closer to Penelope over there.
Yeah, those are pretty good. Well, porcupines, just like us, like eating tree bark, because cinnamon comes from tree bark. So you and I are a little bit more like porcupines than we may have realized. As Penny's working her way up, we'll be able to talk about some of her other cool things as she's getting up into her tree. they are very selective feeders. So when they're picking out these branches in order to eat the leaves and buds off of, they're really picky. They only like the best buds and leaves that have the most nutrients on them. And so they'll actually strip down the leaves as much as they can. It'd be like if you or I were given a big bowl of jelly beans and you only wanted one flavor. That's how these guys are. They only like the Tutti Frutti jelly beans off of these branches. So as she's climbing up, you can see how she uses her tail a little bit differently than a beaver does. They have a lot of quills in that tail, and it gives them really good support. So in the wild, we know what they eat, but here at Lindsay, she gets a couple of different things. So Sammy, do you want to share what kind of things Penny is eating today?
Yeah, right now she's working on some sweet potatoes. We also have a little bit of apple. It looks like we got some blueberries. She has a walnut still on the shelf, and some rodent blocks.
All right, we can do this rapid fire. Do you guys like eating sweet potato? You guys like eating blueberries? Yeah. You guys like eating apples? Yeah. How about walnuts? How about rodent block? You guys don't like rodent block? That's not a trick question. I wouldn't like eating rodent block either. It's really compressed hay and molasses that helps give them some nutrients. Would not be as yummy for us. But those are some of the things that they do like to eat. Now, part of the reason why we can never really find these guys, even if they've been living in California, is because they spend so much time up in these trees. Now, if you want to find a porcupine in the wild, there's a couple of strategies you can employ. One of them has to do with what they have to do with their teeth. So because these guys are rodents, they have these front incisors that just grow and grow and grow the way our fingernails do. So if they don't trim them down, they'll end up with a full mouthful of teeth. It can be really uncomfortable for them. So in order to deal with that, porcupines like to find the antlers of deer, maybe the bones of other animals, even a big, thick stick. And you see
we were just talking about this earlier with the guinea pigs.
A bunch of these things, like those antlers, those bones, those thick sticks, all chewed up. There's a good chance that a porcupine's been up in that tree and you can find them. But sometimes porcupines find us because there's something that they lack in their diet that we use a lot, and it's salt. Porcupines have a really high salt drive, and so they've actually been known to be a little bit of a pest in certain areas because we use salt in a lot of things that we may not realize we do. We use salt to ice road when we're trying to de-ice our roads, so you may have a porcupine licking the underside of your car. You may find a porcupine chewing through your front door because the resin in the plywood has a lot of salt in it. Especially if they're eating things like apples, they get even more, they want salt even more and more. So because of this, some people don't necessarily like porcupines, but I think porcupines are very cool. I enjoy being around them. So as we're watching Penelope finish up her snack, I want to ask you a question. Based off how she's been moving, do you think she's the best climber? Do you think she sometimes falls out of trees? Porcupines are actually known for falling out of trees. It's something that happens to them fairly often. And because of this, they've developed an adaptation to help protect themselves from themselves, because sometimes that perfect leaf is at the end of a very thin branch. And since these guys can get up to 20 pounds, those branches can fall down. So their quills are actually coated with a little bit of an antibacterial lipid. So it's kind of like how our skin, you sometimes have oils on your skin. They have oils on their quills. So when they poke themselves with their quills, they help prevent infection. It has an antibacterial property because it happens to them so often. As we're watching her finish up her snack, I want to open up to you guys. Is there anything you guys want to know about porcupines? Is there any questions that have come up while I've been talking? How old is Penny? Penny is 8 years old. She's actually one of the exceptions here at Lindsay. We've had a lot of our animals come through our wildlife hospital. Penny was born into human care, and for the same reason as other animals in human care, once they've been brought in by us, they're not necessarily able to be released because of the risk of spreading disease. And she also just doesn't really know how to be a wild porcupine. She's pretty used to being a Lindsay porcupine. So because of that, she gets to live here as an animal ambassador. We do our best to give her as comfortable and as good of a time as we can. Yeah.
What is the lifespan of a porcupine in the wild?
In the wild, their lifespan is between 12 and 18 years, and a lot of that actually has to do with those falling out of trees. In a lot of studies of North American porcupines, a lot of the fatality actually comes from older porcupines that they find that they have healed fractures, breaks, different things, because they're so well protected. They really only have those two natural predators, which is mountain lions, which will just try to deal with the quills, and they also is this little weasel-like animal called a fisher that knows how to flip them over. Because of that, they have a pretty long lifespan in the wild, between 12 and 18 years. And then under human care, we expect pretty much all of our animals to exceed that wildlife. Yes. She's been with us since she was born, so she was, or a little bit after she was born. She was born in human care, and they sent her to us to be taken care of about 8 years ago. Yeah, of course.
Does she ever shed her quills?
Yes, that's a very good question. Just like we were saying, hair, nails, same as us, so those quills do shed. And because of that, they kind of shed the way that birds lose their feathers, where they're not going to lose them all at once. Same with our hair. They're going to lose them progressively throughout the year, and then they grow back. So they always maintain about that 30,000 on their body. But, of course, as people who work with her and keepers, we do pick them up, find them all over the place. And so because of that, I can tell you that being stuck by a porcupine quill does not feel like the best thing in the world. It feels like getting stuck by a fish hook. Yeah. They are nocturnal. So Penny's a little bit more adapted to our schedule because she's lived in human care for her whole life, but in the wild they are nocturnal. That's when they're foraging, and they'll spend their days in the summer and spring when it's warm up in trees resting, and then in the winter they go into burrows. Yes. They like to rest up in those trees. How rare are they? They are not endangered. They are a species of least concern on the actual watch list. Their numbers have kind of gone up and down over the years because of them being, like I was saying, they're sometimes considered pest species. People have reintroduced those fishers into areas, which has dropped the populations a little bit, but not to a point where it's of concern. North American porcupines are actually not completely, but much more distantly related to old world porcupines. Like when you think of like African and Asian porcupines, those are more closely related to moles and shrews, whereas porcupines like Penelope, they are in the same family as like the capybara, the guinea pig, the cavies. So they are not a species of concern, but I don't actually know how.
That's pretty cool to learn.
What their population numbers look like. I'm not missing any hands. Yeah. If you meet one in the wild, chances are there's going to be a couple of signs if you're getting close to one. One of them, which is one of their warnings, is they like to chatter their teeth. So if you're in the wild and you start hearing teeth chattering, that could be a porcupine. You'll also probably smell one before you see one because they, like some other rodents, can emit a really stinky musk. So actually, if you visit us and part of the exhibit hall smells a little bit like a locker room, that is because Penelope was in a not very good mood and she decided to musk a little bit. So that's one of the ways that you'll be able to see her. If you do see these guys in the wild, bring her back. Just observe them. They're not going to try to mess with us, and there's really no incentive for us to try to mess with them because they're so spiky. I would be excited just to be able to see one in the wild, but there's no risk to us in terms of seeing one. Awesome. Yeah.
Very cool.
Are the quills poisonous at all?
No, they do not have any venom. Just spiky.
Yeah.
All right. In that case, I'm going to wrap up our program by thanking you guys for being here. If you do have any other questions, you can come find me. I'll stick around for a minute, but we really appreciate you guys joining us. As I mentioned in our morning program, we do have our wildlife hospital as well, and ticket and membership prices from you guys visiting the museum go to help over 5,000 animals each year. So we really appreciate you guys being here, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your visit here at Lindsay. Thanks so much.
Very cool.
She did so good. Oh my goodness. Dude, she was like on home.
The spy wants to know, are the quills barbed? They are. So they've got these, it's almost like a whaling harpoon where they've got these backwards facing barbs on the quills. Except, they've evolved over tens of millions of years to be particularly odious. They really stick and do not come out. They go in much, much, much more easily than they come out. In fact, when a quill goes in, like, the path of least resistance is just to go in further and further and further. And so an animal that gets a face full of quills in the wild, say a mountain lion or a coyote or something, that animal might very well die. Because those quills just go further and further and further in, and they can get into the sinuses. And it's pretty nasty. There's let's see, Michael Holland, a paleo artist and sculptor, who's now at the Burke Museum in Seattle. He did this wonderful exhibit one time where he had 3D prints super large of small structures like porcupine quills. And holding one of those quills 3D printed in your hand and seeing those structures just that big, it really hammers home just how nasty those quills are. They're so cool. It's just a marvel of evolution. Very, very cool. Neat. Let's go back in and see what else we can see. Or maybe we'll go for a quick stroll out here first. But let's go say hello to Lord Richard, now that he's a little bit more visible. Hey there, Lord Richard. You're beautiful. Oop. Doing some pooping. California's oldest turkey vulture. Hey Richard, it's a pleasure to meet you again. It's been a long time. Several years since I've been here. You probably don't remember me, but I remember you. Turkey vultures are so incredibly cool. As dinosaur paleontologists, sometimes we talk about their olfactory bulbs. In their brain, they've got these enormous smell centers. Just incredible. They can smell a carcass because they eat dead animals. And the way that they find them is via smell. And they can smell them from miles away. It really is like a superpower. It's incredible. And then they use those big wings of theirs to soar in that direction so they can travel with, minimal energy expenditure. Just smelling for carcasses, and then they congregate and just, eat it all up. Really important critters for helping clean up carcasses. I know they're not the prettiest animal, but man, are they amazing, just the way that they work. They're so cool. They do have one of the most powerful senses of smell in nature, absolutely. Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. So when we talk about dinosaurs like Tyrannosaurus and their giant olfactory bulbs on their brain, the animal that we usually compare them to is the turkey vulture. This is a living creature that's given us the kind of context that we need to understand extinct theropods like T-Rex. Oh, he's interested in the camera there. It's like, what is that fuzzy thing on top? Is that food? No, it's my microphone cover. Sorry, bud. But yeah, he is lovely. Yeah. And that's really interesting. I didn't know that, Dr. Hubbs. Seeing vultures circling above a pipeline tells the gas companies where the leaks are? Is that right? Do you want to get in here? I can move. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's my first time seeing. I've been to Lindsay a few times, but he's usually
okay.
put away when I've come by.
Oh, gotcha. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Hello.
He's beautiful.
Isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's, what, 50?
Wow. What's the typical lifespan for a turkey vulture in the wild? Probably less than that, I'd imagine.
I think 30 is pretty old.
Wow.
In the wild.
Okay.
Well, no, 30 used to be pretty old.
Isn't he
here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you guys know?
Yes, he is the oldest known any of us to find.
Wow. So anywhere in California or North America or?
North America, yeah.
And they're only native to North America, right?
Yeah, we have not found any evidence of there being anybody older.
Wow.
Tales of maybe one that got into his early 40s, but yeah, he can be 50 years old and still, I mean, of course, knock on wood every time we say it, but still like doing good, kicking.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Very cool. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Presumably the oldest turkey vulture in the world. Incredible. He's just so alert. Wow. Very cool. So if I get the right angle, you might be able to see the nictitating membrane, that clear eyelid that goes laterally across the eye. And look, you can see straight through his nares, too, through his nostrils. You can see daylight on the other side. That's typical. That's not an injury or anything. That's just how these guys are built. Very cool. Wow. And Dr. Hops still live across the street from a vulture rally roosting site. Yeah, I grew up in a house where there were some big eucalyptus trees just a few yards down. We could see them from our backyard, and especially when it would rain, you would just get this big group of turkey vultures that would hang out there and just kind of skulk in the branches. It was so cool to see them. Maybe like 10 or 15 of them. But yeah, I got a telescope for Christmas one year. I never really looked at the stars or anything with it. Didn't really have a lot of stars growing up around here. Too much light pollution and air pollution. But I would use that telescope to watch the turkey vultures. It's so cool. Any other birds I could spot too, but they would hang out in one. You know, they wouldn't. They'd be stationary, so I could just zoom the telescope in on them and just watch them in the rain. It was always super cool. Wow, you are gorgeous. You know that? Yeah. And Goy says it's for a carabiner third nostrils. No. You really are beautiful. You know that? Such a pleasure to be able to hang out with you. Yeah. You're gorgeous. You really are. Oh, what a privilege. Oh, and you have bearded vultures in Spain. They're so cool, the coloration on them. You know, sometimes paleo artists will borrow the color patterns of bearded vultures for various dinosaurs, like Velociraptor. That's always cool to see. Yeah. Man, you've got a wealth of different vultures there, Beguiling Fangs. Really lucky. And here in California, we've got turkey vultures. And then we've got California condors as well, although they are supremely rare. You see turkey vultures all over the place. We saw some yesterday at the Oakland Zoo. Not in the enclosures, but soaring overhead. Yeah. And preening there. You clean those feathers, yeah. Very cool. Terminator Pig, as a kid in Sacramento, I used to birdwatch the palm trees with my telescope. Very cool. You probably got a lot of the same birds that I would get here in the Bay Area. Yeah. Oh, turkey vultures, they are super neat. Yeah. Very cool. We'll go back inside and see who else we can spot. Alright. Okay. We also have black vultures, but they live in SoCal. Interesting, Jay Quartz. I didn't see any when I was down there. But maybe I just thought I was seeing turkey vultures, actually. Anyway, cool stuff. Alright, let's do that again. There we go. Alright. Okay. There we go. Okay. Thank you. Very cool. Let's see some other birds of prey over here. Ooh, who's in there? We've got a snake in there. Let's go see if we can take a look. Oh, very cool. Gopher snake? Oh, thank you. Is it okay if I,
Yeah, of course. We're
Awesome.
putting back our Pacific Gopher snake. This is Sneakers. He's heading back into his enclosure. He came out for a quick meet and greet, supposed to get a little bit of exercise. Now
Very
he's going
nice.
back home.
Awesome.
All right. I'll move this out of your way.
Beautiful.
In he goes. He's a very curious snake, so he's keeping an eye on his surroundings for sure.
He seemed pretty alert, yeah. We saw him earlier over in the corner and just kind of...
He woke up.
Yeah.
I'm good into the bag. It's okay. They're not bad.
Maybe.
And he's all back home.
Very nice.
I think so.
Oh, yeah, it's alright.
Very
Move
cool.
out away from you. While I'm here, I'll lock him up. Thank you.
Well, awesome.
So he'll be a lot more active in there right now than he was earlier.
Yeah. Wow, look at him go. Very cool. Are gopher snakes the same as bull snakes? I've heard some people say that the terms are interchangeable.
I've heard that as well.
Uh-huh.
From what I've learned, they are not interchangeable,
Okay.
but they're very similar.
Yeah.
I would have to do a little more research
Sure.
to clarify.
I mean, clearly I do too, yeah.
They're both rat snakes.
Yeah, there you go.
Rat snakes.
Okay, members
so
of the same
that's why
family.
They look really similar.
Yeah.
But bull snakes are just much larger.
Gotcha. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
He's qualified to handle this thing.
Yes. Trained me well.
Very cool.
Good job.
Beautiful. Gopher snakes are so neat. I've moved many of these. I don't know if they're gopher snakes or bull snakes or both, but I've moved many of them off the road while I was out in the field in Montana and Utah and Wyoming, Nevada as well. Yeah, they're just lovely creatures. I like them so much. Very cool. Look at you. Just beautiful. Tongue darting in and out, tasting the air. Yeah. Very, very cool. And then, let's see, you want to see some birds? Scrabbler well. We've got a band-tailed pigeon right here. Hello to you. How you doing?
Each bird has a different kind of egg. See, look at those. Some big
Very cool.
birds have really big eggs. And some birds have really tiny eggs.
And medium eggs.
Oh.
And medium eggs.
And that's a medium-sized egg. That's right. That's right. Look at the size of her. Look at the size of this egg. I wonder what animal.
We have a band-tailed pigeon here. Patagonius fasciata.
Number 14 is the biggest.
So these are native to California. Unlike the rock pigeons that you see in cities, these guys evolved right here in North America. And California is part of their natural range.
So number 14 is
Very
an
cool.
ostrich. He likes to go hide in the tunnel.
Oh. Yeah. A band-tailed pigeon. Pretty cool, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Does it look a little bit bigger than the pigeons you see in the city?
7.
It's a little bit bigger, I think.
It's okay, she has to learn.
Did you see the woodpecker?
8.
Okay.
Very cool. Let's see who else we can see. Oh, we've got the city pigeon over here, Columba live. Hello, hello, putting on a show for us. I've always really loved pigeons. They are severely underappreciated birds, by most people at least. There are few people who are in the know, savvier people who recognize what remarkable animals these are. They really are beautiful. I think he's showing off for the camera. Yeah, he's like dancing for the microphone. I think he's responding how fuzzy and gray it is. Yeah. Hello, hello. You can hear the bald eagle in the background, but if you listen closely, you can hear his coos right there. He's going. Very cool. I think these were the decals that they were talking about in that presentation too. Ones that are mostly clear, but under UV they fluoresce, so they're much more visible. It keeps the birds from flying into the windows. I'll see about maybe getting some of those on the way out. 'Cause I bet you they have them in the gift shop. Very cool. Really does look like a mating dance, like a courtship display. Beguiling little theropod. So many people see these birds in cities and try and ignore them, or worse. But they really are just beautiful animals, worthy of our respect and our admiration. You know, it's the little things like that, I think, that can bring you joy in everyday life and just make your life better. If you can learn to appreciate pigeons and just have a sense of wonder about them, you'll never be bored. It's hard to be too unhappy. You can just appreciate the majesty of common animals like rock doves, like feral pigeons. Wow. We'll let him go about his day. We'll continue on to see who else we can see. Let's go visit our bald eagle again. Or first, actually, let's go over here. It's filled up. Let's take a look at some of the other herps here. We've got an aquatic garter snake in here.
He swam. There he is.
Right there.
Do you see him?
Look at beautiful. You're lovely.
Let's go this way.
And then we've got, we were talking about earlier, an albino snake here, a northern Pacific rattlesnake, Crotalus oreganus. This snake is a true albino, actually has albinism. Not leucistic, doesn't have just like a lack of pigment in certain areas. This is a total lack of pigment, which means that it's got pink eyes too. Very cool. It's super rare. You're not going to see this in the wild. It's super cool that we get to see this here. Very cool. See the rattlesnake in there? Bright white. Pretty special, huh? Very cool. Let's see if we can spot some turtles over here.
I've seen another animal that's white like this. Which animal have you seen that's white like that?
There's a pink ball. Do you remember what else we've seen that's white like that? An alligator. That's right. Good job. That's really rare too. These turtles I've never seen swimming like this before. All the times we've come here. They've got some toys in there, which is cool.
I think there's some food in that plastic fish, and the turtle's trying to get it out. Very cool. Almost like a Kong toy that you would give to a dog. You know, hide a treat inside. It's the same kind of idea. It's enrichment for the turtles.
Oh, look at he's going in there to get food too. Yeah, he's trying to get food out of it. That's cool. They eat insects, tadpoles, snails, plants, and fish.
There's snails. There's the snail.
I don't know if there's any snails in there.
I see snails. What is that sound?
Very, very cool. I always love to see turtles being all active.
You did? Where? Is there something in there? Oh, look at him going in there. And Rimani has never seen this, and we've been here 100 times. Wow.
There's a big one.
Oh, look at he's like, I want that.
Again, look at those long claws, too.
I want that food. Wow. Oh, he's really excited about that fishy. Look at his tail. Nice feet.
Oh, neat. Oh, we'll see if we can go see the queen bee over here. Oh, we may have missed our chance. Oh, but shoot, let's take a look at this tiger salamander right here while we're here. Look at you right up next to the glass. What a treat. Hello, tiger salamander. So these are also native to California. I'll read the placard here. It says, tiger salamanders lay eggs in seasonal ponds called vernal pools, which dry up in the summer and provide the perfect sanctuary for predators like fish and bullfrogs. After hatching, salamander larvae undergo metamorphosis, where their bodies transform over the next 3 to 6 months, eventually allowing them to walk on land and find shelter in nearby abandoned burrows. California tiger salamanders are only found in California, and based on their range, they are listed as either threatened or endangered, primarily due to habitat loss. Oh boy. What a beautiful critter. Look at that gorgeous patterning. I guess the stripes are where the term tiger salamander comes from. But their actual genus and species name is Ambystoma californiense. I think we have these up in the Berkeley Hills. I need to look into during the fall when you get rains that they have their big migration. It's either the fall or the spring. I'll have to look into that. But they do like a big migration, so they close a bunch of the roads there to keep the salamanders from getting squished by car tires. And, oh, it's so cool how their eyes retract into their heads. Oh, you see that? Very cool. Nice. In Tilden Park, exactly, Jay Courts. Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. I'll have to go up to Tilden Park at some point when they're closing the roads and see how many I can spot. Because it'd be wonderful to see these, and I think there might be fire-belly newts and a few other amphibian species. Yeah, very cool. Very, very cool. All right. And are there plethodontid salamanders on display? I don't think there are Dr. Hubs, but I know what you're talking about, yeah. The ones that are kind of surrounding the Central Valley of California.
Look, you want to see a lizard? Look, come here. Or a salamander.
Check out this turtle over here. We were trying to see him earlier. Here he is, so active right now. You'd love to see it. See, these are western pond turtles, Actinemes marmorata. So that suffix, emes, like that, you'll hear that in a lot of different turtle scientific names.
Turtles are amazing.
Pretty cool, right? Yeah.
There are fish in the water too.
Yeah, I think that's a fish toy, though.
Yeah.
I saw they were putting some turtle food inside of the fish toy, and the turtle was trying to get the food out to eat.
You're a little bit scared for the fish.
Yeah.
You're a little bit scared.
You think the fish is a little bit scared?
No.
You think the turtle is a little bit scared?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Look, these turtles are, it's like they're trying to talk to each other through the glass there.
Yeah. I want to swim out.
Yeah.
I want to get the food out of the fish.
Mm-hmm.
I want to...
Oh, look, they're trying to fight.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe they're grumpy. Do you ever get grumpy?
A little bit.
A little bit? Yeah.
Sometimes I do. And sometimes I don't.
Come on, here. Let's go. Very cool. What a privilege to be able to see the turtles right up close. So active and moving around. You love to see it. Well, I love to see it. Hopefully you do too. Very cool. Oh, turtle fight, turtle fight. I can see why they've been separated. And Bag of Fish says, saw you at TwitchCon with your little dino buddy. Bag of Fish, it's good to have you here. Thanks for saying hello. Welcome to the Lindsay Wildlife Experience in Walnut Creek, California. This is focusing on native species. Many of these are rescues from the surrounding area. And I think these two probably are as well, these western pond turtles. Can't get over how big their claws are. Look at that. Turtle claws are so cool. It's such an under-discussed part of the animal. And Captain Pugwash says, are those not strictly speaking terrapins, as they have claws? Turtles have flippers, I thought? So terrapins are a kind of turtle. Turtle is just a term for Colonia in general. That's pond turtles, tortoises, sea turtles, you know, all those guys. Oh, and interesting, Spit Smiley, thank you. Stebbins and Emmy, I love that you actually know the names of these individual animals. Emmy's a great name for a turtle, too, because it literally means turtle in Latin or Greek. So, the end of the genus in Actinemes, Emes is a very common suffix for the scientific name for different turtles. Like Basilemes is a gigantic kind of land-dwelling turtle from the end of the Cretaceous period in North America, Hell Creek Formation, etc. But I think Emes means turtle in Latin or Greek. So really cool that Emmy is the name of one of these turtles. They don't exactly like having other turtle friends. It makes sense. Yeah. Anyway, very cool. Well, thanks for putting on a show for us, turtle friends. Hey, let's continue on, see who else we can see. I heard the bald eagle making some noise. Let's go investigate. Oh, very cool.
Guys, we didn't see the other animals. We didn't see the other animals.
Wait. Trap.
Wait a minute. Fine.
It's me. I should be neutral. Wow. I could back up closer to the door. See, that's
I can leave too if I'm being a distraction.
Oh, yeah, me too. I think she's wary that there's two zookeepers here. She's, oh.
Gotcha.
It's not a bad exam day. Just wait.
I'll clean first and shoot.
I think she warms up.
Down.
Okay.
Yeah. She's a little, her neck's
Oh.
too long.
It's so suspicious.
I realize they're that big.
Yeah.
They use my 2-year-old.
Yeah. The females are pretty
Much
good
wider
size.
wingspan too. Yeah. She's a female, right? So she'll
Yeah,
be larger than the male.
she's larger, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is she? Yeah, those birds are that way.
Yeah.
What is she weighing?
Right about 10 pounds, like 4.5 or 6.
Oh,
Wow.
okay. She looks bigger than that. I mean, they all do, but
that's-
I feel like 10 pound
definitely
eagles
her
are
low
usually kind
range.
of, okay.
Yeah, she went up to 6 kilograms last year.
Wow.
Okay.
Or earlier this year.
Uh-huh.
And that's around the time when she laid 2 eggs, so that was definitely part of it.
Gotcha.
But she didn't lose that much when she laid eggs.
Yeah.
So a lot of it was actually there.
I hope I'm not stressing her out right now. Sometimes I've noticed birds don't. I know they get really curious about this because it looks like a vole or something, and this looks like a snake. So
Oh, interesting.
I can leave and we'll see if she calms down.
Be a good experiment. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
step like out of sight and then.
Let me do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Little experiment here. All right. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Okay. I'll go elsewhere and.
She watched you leave.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's funny. Well. Yeah. Hi there.
I was curious about you earlier. I saw that.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that a bird?
No, this camera set up with the microphone on top. Yeah.
Nice. So are you
Thanks.
a naturalist, or like is this something like you're doing?
So I'm doing a bunch of different tours of different like wildlife parks and zoos and museums and stuff. I stream on Twitch. And I'm a paleontologist, so I work on dinosaurs, and so I do science outreach full time.
That's awesome. 'Cause
Thanks.
we were like, is it a personal thing, or is he doing it like professionally?
Yeah,
What's going on here?
semi-professionally, but I don't work here or anything. Just like a patron and want to show everybody at home how cool this place is, you know. So definitely, yeah. So I used to come here all the time as a kid. I grew up in the area, and yeah, it's nice to be able to introduce that to everybody who watches me online. So
Definitely, yes. Please
Yeah.
get us some people too. Like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. I don't think so. No. Yeah. Oh, so are you? You're
I'm
with
a
Lindsay?
volunteer, yes.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm Danny. It's good to meet you. Stacy. Yeah. Who are you saying we should meet?
Hello, our common raven. If he is in the
Oh.
mood, he will say hello to you.
Really? So I just go right through there?
Yes, he is
Awesome.
outside along with. So we have hello, then
Uh-huh.
we have dragon, our white-tailed kite.
Okay.
And then flash, our peregrine falcon.
Awesome. I will definitely try and go see them. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Have fun.
Thank you. Very cool. Here, let's hope the signal holds as we go down here. Cross your fingers. Oh, there we go. This must be white-tailed kite right here. All right. Hello. All right. One out here. Let's see. How is our signal? Oh, it's pretty good. 4,000. Okay. Oh. Hello. There's a raven in there. Hello? Ravens are incredibly intelligent critters. They kind of give a new meaning to the term bird brain because they are so very, very smart. we've watched videos on our channel before about ravens and crows figuring out all kinds of complex puzzles that like might even stump an 8-year-old child. Or perhaps your average Twitch viewer. They can figure it out. Problems to do with like displacement, where they've got to put a certain number of pebbles into a plastic tube to raise a water level in order to be able to get to a food reward. Stuff like that, like complex multi-step problems they're able to solve. Yeah. Hello? Hello? Oh, I don't think he's feeling very talkative right now. We'll come back in a minute. And then white-tailed kite over here. Look at that tail. You're beautiful. The sign says white-tailed kites can be found in marshes, grasslands, and open woodlands. An intense beating of the wings called kiting keeps them stationary in the air as they scan the ground for small mammals, reptiles, and insects. In fact, modern-day flying kite is named after this bird of prey. I didn't know that. Well, well, well. In that chicken and egg scenario, it was the bird that came before the human invention. Pretty cool. Pretty darn cool. That is awesome. It's tilting its tail up and down. What is it? This is a white-tailed kite. And it must be a way for them to signal to one another. Maybe it's a territorial thing. I'm not sure exactly what purpose that's supposed to fulfill. But very cool. And then the fastest animal on the face of the planet, peregrine falcon. I'm guessing this is a male here because he looks kind of small. The females are larger, as with most, if not all, birds of prey. And Falco peregrinus, peregrine falcon. Beautiful. At my old apartment, back in Oakland, I lived right next to a bridge where peregrine falcons would nest every year. And I was lucky enough, I had a balcony in the apartment. I could set up my tripod and my spotting scope and watch them throughout the day. It was so cool. Peregrine falcons, much like bald eagles, had their numbers in steep decline in the latter part of the 20th century because of DDT, because of that pesticide that was very widely used. And it thinned out their eggshells so that so they couldn't reproduce. Their numbers just plummeted because they weren't having babies. Their eggshells were too weak and the embryos would die, and these poor birds would, do their darndest to take care of their eggs, but the shells were just too brittle. It's kind of heartbreaking to think about, You can hear their bald eagle up there, too. Yeah. Anyway, peregrine falcons, after DDT was banned, and after more protections were put in place, these guys really started to make a comeback. And now they're very widespread. There's a number of different live cams that you can watch on the internet of peregrine falcon nests. At Berkeley, there's a couple of peregrines, including Annie. She's the female. She's named after Annie Montague Alexander, who's the woman who founded the Museum of Paleontology at Berkeley. I could talk about her all day, but anyway, that peregrine falcon is named after Annie Montague Alexander. Peregrine's name is Annie. And if you go to, I think, calfalcons.org, you can see the live cam there. It's really cool. Look at you. Pretty sure this is a male right here. I think he knows we're looking at him. He's a little shy at the moment. But they are the fastest animal in the world. You'll hear different figures online for their top speed. The one that I've heard is around 240 miles per hour when they go into what we call a stoop. So they'll fly way up high into the air, and they'll spot a prey item like, say, a dove, a pigeon, some other kind of bird like that, maybe a little wading bird like they're feeding on in Oakland and Alameda. So they'll spot that from way up high, and then they will dive down. It is incredibly fast. They're moving like faster, I think, than terminal velocity for a falling object. And they've got a number of evolutionary adaptations that allow them to survive going that fast. Speeds that would, kill another animal. And they've got special, like, little cone structures in their nares, like in their nostrils, that direct oxygen over the top and then, like, basically keep them from, like, I don't know. It directs the air away from them so their head isn't filled up with air through their nostrils as they're just screaming down through the sky. He's making a little fist with his hind leg right there. Oh, doing some scratching. And they've got that nictitating membrane as well, which is a clear second eyelid that goes laterally over the eye. They've got the normal eyelids that close like this, like ours, but they also have that nictitating membrane. And they'll, I think, actually pull that over their eyes like a clear set of goggles while they're diving in order to protect their eyes from that, all that wind going over 200 miles per hour. So cool. Just amazing animals. Do they hit with their talons? They do. So they go feet first, and they just go... They'll knock a prey item out of the air and stun it. Sometimes it dies on impact if they're going after like a pigeon or something like that. And sometimes they carry it off and they hold it down and just eat it while it's alive. A lot of birds of prey will do that. And the cool thing about falcons is that they are not closely related to hawks or eagles. So falconiform birds are not close relatives of your acipterine birds, hawks and eagles. These guys, even though they're called birds of prey, raptors, we've discovered recently they're not close relatives to those other birds of prey. They're more closely related to parrots, which is really cool to think about. So that means that they've independently evolved this kind of body structure that seems very similar to hawks and eagles. But there are distinct differences in their morphology, but especially in their DNA. The subsurface stuff is just completely different. And it shows that they're super closely related, much more closely related, rather, to parrots than they are to eagles or hawks. So yeah, dive bombing parrots. Yeah, if you look it up on OneZoom, the Tree of Life, you can see this. Super cool. There's our white-tailed kite, showing off that beautiful white tail. Yeah, you're such a show-off. We love it. Keep on doing that. Very cool. Awesome. And parrots plus falcons are the sister group to passeriformes. Oh, really? To your songbirds passeriforms? I didn't know that. That's super cool. If I were back home in my office, we'd look up that big phylogeny, the Tree of Life, and we'd look at where these different critters appear on it, who their closest living relatives are. Yeah. Oh, you're gorgeous. All right, and now back to our raven over here. Hello. Hello. Gorgeous. I think his name is Hello. But yeah, very cool. Well, let's go back upstairs and think about wrapping this up. I've got go to a family thing in a little bit. So let's go finish up the stream here. I gotta ask about those window decals too. Put on the windows to keep birds from flying into them. So let's go on over here. And if any of you find yourselves in the East Bay,
announcement for Discovery Time, starting right now at the benches in the center of Exhibit Hall.
Cool.
This is for the kids, so if they want to come and do a craft or an experiment or...
Is that a kestrel over there?
This is the place to be.
It's interesting, they don't...
The benches down in the center of the exhibit hall.
Oh, those are live birds. Oh my god.
I think that's a little tiny kestrel over there. This looks like maybe a red-tailed hawk.
I think that's a red-tailed hawk.
Is it a red-tail? Thank you.
Oh my god, oh my god. Oh,
Ooh,
yes.
nice.
Yes.
Lunchtime.
Yummy. It's lunchtime. Yummy, yummy. Hello.
What is that for? How come that's
Oh, I'm doing a live stream right now
Oh.
on Twitch, yeah. So walking around showing everybody the different animals and talking about conservation. Look at that tiny little, that might be a screech owl back there. Yeah, look how small.
Look at that owl right there.
These are ultra.
Very cool. I think that might be a kestrel, the one over there on the right, with kind of like the black sideburns. I think that's a kestrel, but I could be wrong. Yeah.
You just were rough on them. Yeah.
Anyway, very cool.
These weren't made for
Well, I've got to wrap this up, so I'll see you later. Let's go on over here, and then I'll ask about... You know what? Let me just do that now while I'm here. There. Pardon me. Have you got any of those UV decals for the windows to keep birds from flying into them?
We sure do,
Yeah?
On one of the spinning stands. the one
Gotcha.
with the monarchs on it, yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm going to get some of these. Let's see. Seeds. Next one over, that one. Gotcha, sorry. Over here. Here we go. Hawk decals. I don't know if I want the hawk ones because I don't want to scare birds away from the yard. I just want to keep them from flying into the window. So let's try these. I don't know if any of you have ever had a bird fly into your window pane before. It's really sad, and it's even sadder for the bird, obviously. I'm going to pick some of these up for my house. And, yeah.
I don't.
Cool. Grab some of these. And then, oh, this is neat. Plastic dinosaurs, too, including some feathered ones. That's neat. Huh. Good to know they have those here if I need to pick some up. Yeah, this will be good. It's a good start. I know I can come back if I want some more. Yeah. And Casey Snowart, good to have you here. Thanks for joining us. Yeah. All right, if anybody would like to make a donation to the Lindsay Wildlife Experience and Wildlife Hospital, just check out their website. They've got a donate link there. Hi there.
Hi.
Just wanted to grab a couple of these. And let me get my card. Yeah. Try one of each.
We have them on our windows.
I saw that, yeah.
No, it helped my home.
Oh, nice, nice.
What about the outside?
Uh-huh.
And when you wash the windows, careful because they'll just come
They'll come off? Okay, gotcha.
So we've got the leaf and the window.
Nice.
And are you a member?
I'm not, no.
1737.
Okay. Let's see.
There we go.
Yep.
There you go.
Thank you, thank you.
I've been hearing all about you today.
Oh, you have been?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, people are talking? Wow.
Oh, yeah. One of our, Kenneth, one of our educators, came in and said, he was just raving about you.
Wow.
He was
I can't believe it.
following you and everything.
That's awesome.
Text receipt? No receipt. Email receipt.
Let's see. Let's do email if you don't mind.
I'm in it. I don't mind, but you can type it in.
Of course. That looks right.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Yeah. Okay. Lovely. My goodness. Well, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did, everybody. The Lindsay Wildlife Experience. It was the Lindsay Wildlife Museum when I would come here as a kid. But it really is an experience. Thank you for experiencing it with me today. I hope you learned something. I hope you've got a newfound appreciation for critters that we live alongside here in the San Francisco Bay Area and wherever you happen to live. There are wonderful creatures there too, creatures that deserve our respect and our protection. And yeah, I think we'll wrap up the broadcast right here with Lord Richard. How's that sound, bud? He's like, yeah, I think that'll work. Great. Let's find somebody else to raid right now. And Pluto says, first stream, it was a lot of fun. Well, thank you, Pluto. We'll be doing, I think, 2 more IRL live streams before my mobile data runs out. And then it's back to office streams, talking about new fossil discoveries, answering questions, teaching people about the incredible history of life on our wonderful planet Earth. Anyway, who else is doing science right now on Twitch? We'll see if we can go show them some love. And Science Streams is on. Well. Let's see. Or, yeah, let's go right into Science Streams. There we go. Chat. Raid. Science _ streams. Beautiful. Raid has been created. Excellent. Fantastic. Well, Lord Richard, thanks for having us here today. Really enjoyed this tour of your domain here, and I wish you many, many more peaceful, happy years here at the Lindsay Wildlife Experience. Thanks for sharing your home with us. But thank you, everybody, for your viewership, for your questions, for your enthusiasm, and for your financial support. And again, if you're ever here in Contra Costa County in coastal California, make sure you visit the Lindsay Wildlife Experience. And if you happen to live in the Bay Area and encounter an animal that looks like it might need help, give these folks a call. That's what they're here for. Likewise, wherever you live, if you happen to encounter an animal that you think is in distress, look online. I think you can go to like foundananimal.com.org, something like that. You're all internet savvy people. You can figure it out, but see if you can find a local wildlife sanctuary, hospital, rehabilitators, whoever. There's people out there who can help you and help those animals. Anyway, without further ado, let's go right into Science Streams. We'll see everybody later. Take care.